My name is Jessica. I am calling from Florida, and I am a compulsive eater, which means that in order for me to be able to show up here, for me to show up anywhere, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet, and I love my meals. I think I love them so much because they're abstinent and they give me sanity. So this program continues to save me from myself moment by moment. Every night I speak with my sponsor. She is always there for me in one way or another. And I commit to her that I'm going to go to sleep abstinent. And for me, that means that I'm not going to eat anything else before bed so that I can wake up abstinent. I have to get really specific with my disease because it'll be like, this isn't really having something. I make excuses. And then my really big problem is that I believe those excuses. So I guess that would be called I lie to myself. And I did lie to myself. And I believed it because I didn't know they were lies. It took me a really, really long time to understand what my disease was, what recovery was, and what was my thinking. And out of all that, what was going to get me into trouble? I didn't realize that my disease could speak to me so nicely. Everyone said it's like a gorilla in a cage, so I imagined it like very violent, aggressive. But mine would say after dinner, oh, you just need a little bit more. It's okay. It's all right. And it was so nice about it. So I believed it. How could that be part of disease thinking, right? Well, I had to come to realize that the disease isn't something else. It lives in my head. So wherever my feet go, my head follows. So it's always been with me, and it only knows how to speak to me the way I speak to myself. And even, I guess, in that voice, when I belittled myself for eating before knowing that I needed to be here, I did it kind of nicely, like, oh, you're just so not worthwhile. You just kind of suck, you just keep messing up. You're not spiritual enough. You're not good enough, because if you were, you wouldn't be doing this. It was a really huge moral issue for me. I started going to the food as a maladaptive coping mechanism when I was about 5. And I do have a very first memory of that. It just progressed from there because this is a very progressive, quickly progressing condition for me. By the time I was in high school, I needed OA. So my first OA meeting was, let's see, when I was, gosh, it's really too long ago to remember exactly how old I was. Anyways, I went to the bottom of a church, and there were all these old ladies who were definitely younger than I am right now. And they were talking about something that I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand the language, but all I got out of it was that one of these days, if I prayed enough, that I wouldn't eat out of control. I wouldn't binge my brains out. I wouldn't diet compulsively. I wouldn't go up and down and all around and fluctuate from under 90 pounds to over 160 and like snap of a finger, blink of an eye. I could. I can I can eat with the best of them and really pack it away, and therefore I can gain weight really, really quickly. Couldn't take it off quite as easy. I've heard the saying, can't run down a fork, and I couldn't. So that's where I was, and they didn't tell me what to eat at that time. They just said, well, eat healthy, eat 3 meals a day, and you'll get better. Well, the things that I chose for my meals and how long those meals were, there was no recovery in there. So, granted, I didn't stay um, at all. Nobody really took me under their wing. So it's really one of my commitments today that if young people come into this program, that I have both of my hands up waving, saying, "Hey, you could do this. You're in the right place. Let's work together." Um, just taking both their hands, because if I would have gotten it back then, the decisions that I would have made in my life would have been very, very different. I made a lot of decisions about who I was and what I wanted to be because I felt like I needed to hide. I didn't want to be known. So I chose relationships that that I wouldn't be known in. People that really weren't going to ask questions. They didn't want to know me. I was safe that way. I was safe that way. So I left program, of course, when I was in high school because I had no clue what anybody was talking about. Went on like eating compulsively, dieting compulsively, being totally insane, exercising, couldn't throw up. Let's just say laxatives don't even work on me anymore. I could take so much and it would do nothing for me. Anyways, that's a whole other story. And that has to do with my health, but my health and my abstinence have absolutely nothing to do with each other. I could get hit by a car. I could get some crazy disease tomorrow. So many things could happen to me. And none of that has to do with what I'm going to choose to eat.
Then
Not a, oh my gosh, I was totally rambling. Thank you so much, Rachel. Anyways, I came back into program when my second child was, let's just say a baby. It was probably around 33 or something. Very quickly graduated to GreySheet after about a year because I was progressing in the most strict programs, and the more boundaries I had, the better I felt. I made it to Gray Sheet only because somebody after an OA How meeting, the leader took me aside who had lots of abstinence, and she said, I think there's a place that might be able to help someone like you. So call these people. It's called Gray Sheet. And I said, what is gray sheet? Like the color of a paper? Or I really didn't get it. I had no clue what she was talking about. She told me where to go. I showed up. Didn't even need to call anybody, just showed up. And that was my start of Gray Sheet. And that was, that was a lot of years ago because I left twice. And so for me, relapse is like hell. But because of the strength of this program and the fellowship, my step 0 turned into a step 1, turned into a step 2, into a step 3. And my sponsor who brought me back, I guess 4.5 years ago now. So she said that because I was so angry at God and because I didn't really know that there was anything out there that was going to help me, she would loan me her higher power. And it totally works, people. Borrow somebody else's if you need one. The other thing she helped me do was to define my own higher power. And the only thing I could define it was that I was definitely sure that there was something in everything that did something. So for a long time, we called that the great something because I knew that something was there. Like I knew there was something in everything that did something. Wasn't really quite sure, but today I call that something by a lot of names. And when I'm in a foxhole, I can definitely call that that great something God. I can get mad at that great something and it's still there. I can ask that energy just to spiral me upward because I feel like I'm going downward. It's a lot of things to me, but the most thing that it is it's changed the way I think, and that's to ask how to be of service rather than begging for what I want. Because when I get what I want, the next thing that will follow is trouble. And I don't need that because I am too tired to deal with any of that. So on that note, I am abstinent, I am grateful, and I'm committed to going to sleep abstinent tonight, which means that I will eat nothing else before bed so that I can wake up abstinent tomorrow morning for my delicious breakfast. Yeah, I am done. So thank you again for letting me be here and listening to me so kindly while I ramble.